I recently watched a GDC talk called Keeping It Together, Encouraging Cooperative Gameplay by Patrick Redding. And in this video, I'll share two of my key learnings. First one is to understand why players cooperate, and second one, to have some design tools that we can implement in our games to encourage cooperative gameplay among players. Let's get started. Starting with why players cooperate, author identifies two reasons. First one is, if there is a given problem, players will collaborate to optimize the game output. Like fighting a boss is easier together than alone, or distributing tasks in a team so that we can corner and execute enemies easily. The second reason is shared intentionality. That is, players derive satisfaction from meaningful cooperation. Isn't it fun winning a team deathmatch with friends than simply single player? This shared intentionality promotes individual self-expression, where players, although they are in a team, they feel that they have an impact and are valued. Knowing this, we need some design tools to employ in our games. Here comes the second key learning. Author shares with us 7 cooperative dynamics which his team used in their game Splinter Cell, Conviction, and other famous games. Here, dynamics is a term for mechanics or systems that deliver cooperation. In the talk, author shared various games which implemented these dynamics in a different way. For simplicity, I am going with squad mode of PUBG, since I felt that these dynamics are implemented quite effectively. First dynamic is gating or tethering, or simply said, no player proceeds until all players proceed. In this, we restrict player movement in a way that both players are always near each other or always need each other's help to proceed. The gating dynamic I see in PUBG is the zone mechanic. With time, the zones constrict, reducing the play area. This I see as an opportunity when stakes are low, squad can choose to land separately to collect resources, and later in game they can regroup together for final moments of tension. Other way I see this dynamic being implemented is sharing items. To share an item to fellow teammate, they need their player to come where the item was dropped. This is also a way it is ensured players stay together. Let's move on to the second dynamic, that is exotic challenges. Here, exotic means player is given some altered camera or controls for a different type of gameplay. Interestingly, the player who is required to use these different controls is still susceptible to same challenges of a normal player. Example in PUBG I see is the scope. The larger 8x scope helps the player to see long distances, but at cost of getting killed by a sneaking enemy behind. This way the players need to cooperate, and when they play, one player can see through the scope for long range targets, whereas the other players can look out for any sneaky foes around. Now the third and fourth dynamics can be correlated to each other. Third one is punitive systems and fourth one is buffing systems. We'll get into it in a while. In case of punitive systems, one player gets trapped and it requires other players to rescue to survive. However, this can be avoided. Other player can choose to avoid the trapped player if the reviver is smart enough. This is a no-brainer in PUBG, the knockout mechanic. Here, when the player gets knocked out, it requires other teammates to revive, and this fosters cooperation. The fourth dynamic, buffing systems. In this, one player gets overpowered than other by doing some actions. Here the benefits of the buff can be conditional and or temporary. This is entirely voluntary for the player to opt in for the buff or not. Example of this in PUBG is the drop mechanic. Player can choose to collect the overpowered loot from the drop. This buff is of course conditional, that is, the loot is not enough for the entire team. Moving on, the fifth dynamic is asymmetric abilities. This can be seen as orthogonal classes in RPGs. This assumes that no player can max out on any of their skills. Here, strengths and weakness are designed to suggest mutual support play. Its example in PUBG to me are the weapons. Not all weapons in PUBG are same, and one player cannot carry all types of weapons, plus the bag is a limited resource. This encourages forming diverse teams where they distribute and plan resources to tackle the situation upon circumstances arriving in game ahead. The sixth dynamic is combined actions. This may sound similar to asymmetric abilities, but here we speak about the player skills and not the character abilities. Few of the player's skills are precision, timing, measurement, management, strategy, tactical choice, problem solving, etc. This is more player directed. Hard part is identifying the compound challenges. Example is doing a vehicle battle in PUBG. One player drives while other player focuses on shooting the other players. This allows player to tackle compound challenge by delegating responsibilities on player skills like driving or shooting. The seventh or the final dynamic is survival or attrition. Simply put, play continues as long as 1+ players survive. It essentially says you can be a hero or you could be dead. Many survivors are possible, but casualties are permanent. Survival guarantees a share in the collective victory. Players can choose to weigh their risk reward and play the next round more cautiously. Example, in squad matches, play continues even when one of the player is alive. The player dying early in the game has a voluntary choice to leave the game and start another one. Though staying can give playing player feeling that the teammate have got their back, who can help make decisions and guide through until the last one dies or wins. Thus, when last surviving player wins the game, the chicken dinner is shared among all. This sense of accomplishment and joy is shared. That doubles the enjoyment of the victory. And with this, we are done for the summary of the talk. This is not all. Speaker shares some more level designing tips, lessons learned while developing their game, Splinter Cell, and also some best practices. Also hang on till the Q&A session since there were many insightful questions answered. Hope you all enjoyed. Do hit the like button to encourage us to make more such talk summaries. Subscribe to get notified for our future uploads. To watch the entire talk, I'll link it in the description or one of the boxes in the end of this video. Check the description below to find one-page PDF summary of this talk. Finally, thank you all for watching till the end.